So I screwed up. I was fiddling around with the camera settings and moved the ring light and the tripod in a way that I've never done before. And what do you know? I cut off half my head. So if you're watching this, you can't see half my head. But I feel like I recorded over an hour of podcast. So I'm giving it to y'all, even though you're not going to see part of my head. I'll do better next time. Bye. Welcome back to Hardly Minding My Business. I am tired, okay? I am exhausted. All of the things. I have the worst migraine right now and have had the same migraine for the past 2 days. I'm going through it, but I'm here because it's been a while. And I've been trying to get back on track, but life is kicking my ass, okay? I am just exhausted. Not only that, I just feel like, I've been really uninspired lately, and I don't know what that's about. It's like I get these spurts of, oh, I want to do this, and this, and then I don't know. So anyway, enough about all of that. There's a lot going on at all times, and that's just life, you deal with it, but sometimes it's a lot to deal with. But anyway, I had like a really weird experience that I can't talk too much about, at least not today. I think at some point I can elaborate more on it, but I feel like right now is not the right time. I don't know who's watching this, and I just want to make sure that, I protect my political connections. But what I will say is I had an experience that kind of like took a lot out of me last month, and nothing bad, actually very good. It was kind of a whirlwind situation. An opportunity came up that I was really excited about. Everything went as good as things can go, and then at the end, it kind of just got like stripped from me, and I had a really hard time. I didn't know what to do with it. I think this added to my exhaustion, and it added to my this uninspired feeling that I've kind of been having. So I'm trying to get back on track and like regroup in my mind, but it is draining when you think that something is going one way and like something feels like a sure thing, or something just puts you in a place where you're super confident and excited and ready, and then the whole thing flips upside down. It is a lot to take in. So that happened, and I think that I just, while I haven't been dwelling on it, I think it did kind of shake me up a little bit, and I needed a moment to process that. Sometimes I think that I don't give myself enough time to process things. I also have a really bad habit of making other people feel better about things that affect me. I think I've said that here on the podcast before, maybe even last episode. So I have to get better at, prioritizing myself in that way. It's so interesting to like, not exactly the same thing, but along the same vein. Like my group chat was having a conversation the other day about how women show up in certain situations so differently from men, and how men are taught from very young to have a presence when they walk into a room, and to be loud, and to be unapologetic. And women, on the other hand, maybe not as much today as, you know, our young people are being raised into into older humans, but there is this thing, right, where women tend to apologize for things, or over explain things, or use the filler words that make things sound nicer and more polite, and in order to make other people feel okay and feel comfortable with whatever it is you're delivering to them. And we were discussing how the way we've been programmed, we have to actively turn that off, actively not over explain, actively not apologize for every single little thing, actively think about being matter of fact and just saying whatever it is. I want to talk more about this, and just kind of the way that women show up in the world, and even just when you're dealing in business, in corporate America. I'm saying I'm uninspired, but there's a lot of things that have been coming up creatively over the last couple of weeks while I've been laying low that I want to explore more with the YouTube channel. So I'm playing around with some things there, but just top level, like, it's such an interesting conversation, and it's so true. I find myself doing these things. I went to a seminar. I think I talked about it on the podcast a while ago. It was a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, I want to say. And it was specifically geared towards women in my industry. And it was great because it was a lot of leaders in the industry who were women. And one of them spoke specifically about how, you know, you should be mindful of the way you send emails. You should be mindful of the way, like, even things like calling out from work, and just limiting how much information you give, limiting how much you over explain, limiting how many fluffy words you use. You don't have to soften the blow, and you don't have to make things comfortable for everyone else. You could just exist in the world and be direct and be honest, and things will not fall apart. Something I have to remember. I know it's just that sometimes I gotta, you know, remind myself of these things. And I think that it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot professionally. It comes up a lot when you're dealing with conflict. These things come up. So just something to think about, something really interesting. I just thought it was a cool conversation that our group chat was having, because it's something that I think about very often. So I thought it was interesting to hear other perspectives about it. Made me think. Before we get into petty or not, I do want to bring something up about petty or not. So I have one that I'm gonna do today, but I really would like, I've been doing petty or not for 5 years, almost 5 years at the end of the year, almost. So obviously it has I've done a lot of them, and sometimes there are no petty or not things that I want to talk about. Sometimes I have a bunch, but I had this idea that maybe I don't know what we'll call it quite yet, but if you have a petty or not that you would like to share with the class, hit me up. Send me a DM. If you know me, feel free to send me a text. send me an email, and I will read your petty or nah as the petty or nah segment for that week. So it could be anything. Remember, it doesn't have to be petty. It could be something super serious. It could be something super important to you, but you feel like it needs to be said to an audience. I'm just gonna close my blinds since the sun is taking over. So let's do that. Hit me up, let me know, hey, had this petty thought and I wanted to share it. And I will share it. You don't have to share it with your name or anything like that. I can share it anonymously on your behalf. I will say that this is not my petty or not, this is someone else's. But I think it would be really cool if the people who watch this and the people who probably have thoughts of their own contribute to the petty or not. So let me know if there's something that you want to get off your chest. Like I said, it can be super petty, it can be a little petty, it can be super serious, it could be a little serious, it could be a little funny, a little not, whatever. Hit me up and let me know, and I will share that. So this week though, I have a petty or not. And it's about the people on the internet. I feel like I've been talking about people on the internet a lot lately, so my bad for that. But something that I've been seeing a lot of, and I get really frustrated. Y'all know I talk all the time. I love watching like food videos, like food reviews and restaurant reviews and things like that. And something that I noticed that really, really grinds my gears is that people call every fucking thing a hidden gem. Everything is not a hidden gem. Just because you didn't know about it doesn't mean that it was hidden. Maybe it was just a gem. It really wasn't hidden. Like, people knew about this. People knew about this. Not just because you didn't know about this. Now it's a hidden gem, and we all have to hear about this place that you discovered. Some of y'all need to be really careful about the shit y'all say you discovered. And by y'all, I don't mean y'all. You know who I mean. Y'all gotta be really careful about the shit you say you discovered. No, you didn't discover that. And if you do your research, sometimes it pays to do your research and do a little homework about the things you're talking about on the internet. Look it up. See if anybody else has talked about it. Because a lot of times you can find hundreds of other people who have said the exact same thing. And you are over here looking a little crazy because the rest of us are like, but I've known that place since 2009 and you just found it. And I don't get it. It's really weird. It's just overrun, it's overused, it's too much, and like, please, or just find a different way to say it. Everything feels so inauthentic and so unoriginal these days. I gotta be honest. It just does, and I don't know, it gets under my skin. It be like real common shit. And maybe not common for like somebody living in Chicago who has never traveled to New York and then comes to New York and thinks that something is new. Well, yeah, it's new to them. But to the rest of us, we've been here. What are you talking about? I don't know. It's silly and I know it's petty, but that's what we're here for. So be it. I just don't get it, and please miss me with the hidden gems, and don't get me started on gatekeeping. I'm not even gonna go there, but the internet ghetto. All right, so don't forget, if you want to share your petty or not, hit me up at dashingdion@gmail.com or hit up the socials. You know where to find me. I'm _D on Instagram, and I am that girl Dash on TikTok. Cool. we got to talk about some things because it's been a while. So there's things that need to be discussed. I want to start with Delta. This just came out today. Was it today or yesterday? I'm not really sure. I guess it doesn't matter. You're probably not listening to this today on My Today. So Delta has decided that they are going to change their Sky Miles program. They want to make sure that they maintain the exclusivity of their perks, especially when it comes to the Sky Club and who can access Sky Club amenities. Now, previously, and I don't have all of the details, but previously, even people who bought an economy ticket would have access to the Sky Club if they did certain things. So no, it doesn't mean that any and everybody could just walk into the Sky Club, but I think that, you know, you could get like day passes and things like that. I think if you flew a certain amount of miles or you had a certain credit card, you would have access to the Sky Club. I am here to tell you guys that that is no longer. So if you have been doing that, it's not going to be that simple anymore. I think I've only done the Sky Club once. And honestly, I haven't been traveling lately the way I normally do. I don't even know if you can call that normal now for me. Because who has the time? The fact that they have said that they want to maintain the exclusivity of the program is very telling. It's also interesting because there have been rumors, there have been conversations floating around about the fact that people who have been Sky Miles members and have been Medallion members for however many years now are finding that they're going to the Sky Club and they feel it's overrun, it's overcrowded, there are too many people in there. And I think that we can make a case, and this is what I was reading too. I actually, a lot of the details I got from the New York Post, but we can assume that part of this rise in people wanting to get into the Sky Club and people like either figuring out how to get in or just in terms of volume, how many people are actually going into the Sky Club. Influencer culture. There are a lot of people who are, you know, getting on, not gatekeeping, getting on the internet and going, hey guys, look at me in the Sky Club. You know, we had to go and get a glass of wine and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, all the voiceovers and all the things. And they tell you how to do it. The thing about the internet, the era that we're in right now, is not only am I going to share with you my experience, but I'm also going to teach you how to have the experience I have. I think this is even true. Like, we've seen this with a lot of different industries. I think it's prevalent when you think about like the fashion world and Fashion Week and how so many people who are internet famous are now sitting in the front row. People have complained about that and said that that experience is no longer exclusive because of the types of people, or you know, it's not famous models anymore or huge celebrities. I think I'm of two minds. One, I'm like, I totally understand having an experience that is supposed to be exclusive and supposed to be it's supposed to like be separate from everybody's experience, right? You pay for convenience, you pay for comfort. If everybody is getting the same amenities as you when you spend a certain amount of money or you invest a certain amount of time and whatever it is, you know, because there's people who are loyal to one airline. They'll say, I'm only flying Delta, and I'm only flying Delta's affiliates, and that's it. They've got tons of points, they've got medallion status, and that's it. There's something to be said about doing all of that and then still feeling like you've bought into something that everybody else is getting. Now, the other thing is, I think that this kind of raised the profile for Delta. Obviously, Delta is popular and well known, and Delta doesn't need anybody to promote its business. It would be around regardless. But I do think that there is a certain level of free promotion that you get when that many people are posting about it or telling people, oh, hey, this is a thing you want to do. I think that's what is allowing Delta to make it so exclusive now and make it so that, you know, only certain people can be a part of this experience. I think that it's kind of, in a way, boosting their cachet. So, I don't know. I'm not mad at it because I am not someone who frequents the Sky Club. I'm curious to see what people who do feel about this, because it's going to affect everybody. You have to have medallion status in order to enter the Sky Club, and now they're limiting how often you can go throughout the year. So most people will not be able to exceed 6 to 10 times a year to the Sky Club. Now that could be frustrating for someone who travels every month or travels several times a month. That could be incredibly frustrating for that person, because maybe, you know, before your flight, you know where you go, and you go have your glass of wine and your cookie and whatever the situation is. People who travel for work, I don't know. All I'm saying is, I'm curious to see how this works, and I'm curious to see if the program will stay the way that they're changing it to. This doesn't take effect until January 1. And you can go online and find out exactly how the tiers are going to be broken out. But what I can say is it will affect everybody, because they are raising the amount of dollars that have to be spent. They created different, there are now different tiers in terms of medallion status, and there were tiers before, but it's very specific about where you fall in that tier and how much access you will get. And the bottom line here, and I think the biggest takeaway here, is that if you do not have medallion status, you will not be going anywhere near Sky Club. So I just thought this was really interesting, because it's like the influencers are at war with the elites. And it was kind of funny to me. I know my dad is a very frequent flyer, so I hit him up today and I was like, heard the Sky Club has been crowded. How's that been going? So I think it's really funny and kind of a silly thing, but kind of not, because it will affect somebody. Maybe not me, maybe some of you, I don't know. If you have any experience with this, or if you're upset about this, let me know. We can talk about it for sure. Maybe this would be your petty or not. Like, hey, what the fuck, Delta? We can talk about that too. Anyway, let's move on. So we got a lot of things going on here. Coco Gauff. Let's start with good news. Coco Gauff won the U.S. Open Championship. She is a Grand Slam winner. She walked away with $3 million. Coco, by the way, is 19 years old. Now, I don't really know a whole lot about tennis. I have been to the US Open many times. I love going to the US Open. I think it's the most chill experience. It's so much fun. You know, you get to see the games and you can roam around and have drinks and food, and it's just a good time. It's a lot of fun. But outside of that, I don't know anything about tennis. But I do know things about black girls. So Coco Gauff, obviously this stood out to me, and I was really excited to see that she won. So good for her. Yes, I saw I saw the live she did where people were asking her, you know, what she's gonna do with her money, her prize money, and asking her if she's gonna pay off debt. And of course, it was hilarious to hear her say, "What debt? I don't know her. I've never met her." So that was that was funny. I mean, she's 19, so makes sense. But good for her. Really exciting for her. What else we got here? So I've been sitting here drinking some coffee, and I was using Dunkin' creamer in my coffee. The reason this is interesting to me is because Ice Spice, y'all know Ice Spice, right? What is Ice Spice thing? She a baddie, she's showing her panty. I don't even know. I think that's Deli. I don't really know. I know Ice Spice, but I don't know Ice Spice. I'm familiar with Ice Spice because her music, like, she has a very specific sound, and her music is everywhere right now. But yes, that is the extent to my Ice Spice knowledge. She a baddie, she's showing her panty. And you know, sometimes you gotta show your panty. Who am I to judge? So Ice Spice has teamed up with Dunkin'. Y'all know these fast food, these quick service businesses have been teaming up a lot with celebrities, a lot with music artists to drive more revenue and more foot traffic to their stores. So Dunkin' is the latest to do this. Dunkin', apparently Ice Spice's fans are called Munchkins. And y'all know the little donut holes. I don't know who buys Munchkins anymore, but I remember being a kid and Munchkins were like lit. You would go to school and somebody would buy like a box of 100 Munchkins, and just love. But you don't really see them anymore. But apparently Ice Spice calls her people, her fans, Munchkins. So she did this whole collab with Dunkin' where there's an Ice Spice drink right now that you could go and get. I think it's called the Ice Spice. It's the Ice Spice Munchkins drink. It says smooth, creamy, frozen coffee with pumpkin munchkins. So they actually blend the donut holes in the coffee, and then they top it with whipped cream. Yeah, so it works, right? Because it's pumpkin spice season. I don't know how pumpkin spice season started in the middle of August. I was really confused, and I hate it. But please bring on, peppermint mocha, because I love peppermint mocha. I could do without the extra month of pumpkin spice. But when that peppermint mocha rolls in, sign me up, okay? I just thought this was cute and fun and good for her. Get the bag. I'm here for it. Speaking of other people who are getting the bag, Nicki Minaj hosted the VMAs. I won't talk too much about the VMAs because I did not watch it, so I have no idea. I don't know what really happened at the VMAs. What I can tell you though is that Nicki did perform. Nicki did a song. I don't know if, I'm assuming it's new. I'm not really sure, but Nicki made sure that she let the girls know that she came before them. I saw a clip of her performing. She looked great. But some of the lyrics were like, I was here first. These bitches know. And I was like, okay, Nicki. I mean, I have always said that I feel like Nikki doesn't need to do that. Like Nikki, we know you were here first. We champion that. But I guess, you know, over the last couple of years, she's felt like she hasn't been respected by the newer rappers. I don't know. But good for her for hosting the VMAs. I thought that was really cool, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. There were some interesting outfits on the red carpet. Saweetie was wearing bones. I don't know. It was like this pink dress, almost toga style, but not really. Kind of like a Grecian type of vibe. It was pink and shiny, and then there were two bones that I guess held the dress up, sort of. She was looking like the Flintstones. I didn't really understand. Maybe I should have watched it, and maybe she said why she did this, but it was strange. It was strange. I know that the VMAs is the award show where everybody kind of does their own thing, and they're allowed to be quirky and weird and all of the things, but it was strange. It was strange. Who else? Young Miami was there. She was wearing this dress that was, it looked like the wings of a vulture. It was a bodysuit, a very high cut bodysuit. And then it like fanned out. But it almost looked, the fabric almost reminded you of the feathers on a vulture. And it was structured just like the wings of a vulture. It was weird and very bird-like. What I thought was really interesting though is that Young Miami was like, so I see y'all didn't really like my outfit, but I liked it. I don't see what the problem was. I thought it was cute. I love the fact that she can laugh at herself. I love the fact that she's unbothered. She's like, I know y'all didn't like it, but the reason I wore it was because I liked it. I think that's hilarious. I think it's great when an artist can just not be worried about what's in the comments, not really take it so seriously, because the dress wasn't serious. So how could you take it seriously? She knew. I'm sure she knew that there were gonna be people who were gonna be like, girl, what is that? Like, what are you doing? But again, it was the VMAs. You could be quirky and weird and eclectic and do all of the things that you want to do. So she did that. Was there anybody else? I saw Doja Cat. Doja Cat had on this like purple. Was it purple or was it pink? It was like, I don't know, like just fabric kind of woven together with these big holes. That was interesting. I didn't mind that. I don't think there's anybody else I remember from what I saw. No. Nobody else I remember. But it was interesting. I'm sure that we will do a full music breakdown on LHRC, but y'all know over here, like, if I want to see the outfits, I want to see the looks, I want to see the pink carpet looks. Okay, that's what I was checking for. So Tyrese and DJ Envy, and DJ Envy's wife, Gia Casey. So I don't really know what to do with this information, but I feel like it's hot tea, so let's talk about it. If I understand the story correctly, Tyrese goes on to the Breakfast Club about a week ago. Tyrese goes on to the Breakfast Club. I don't know, maybe he's promoting a movie. I really don't know. Truly, I don't care. Tyrese goes on to the Breakfast Club. They're having a conversation. It somehow comes up that DJ Envy and Tyrese were tight at one point. but Envy says that he had to take a step back from Tyrese. And he was like, you was talking crazy or something like that. Tyrese is like, oh, when I was on the mental health drugs, basically saying that he was on some drugs that had him talking out of turn, out of character. Envy goes, yeah, I don't know what type of drugs you was on, but I know that you were talking to my wife crazy, and so I took a step back from you. So Tyrese now is like, whoa, hold up, what? And Envy says, you said some shit to my wife that made me want to box you in the mouth, yada, yada, yada. Apparently, like, they have this really awkward exchange, and then at some point in the conversation, they piece it up and it ends, right? Later on, I guess Tyrese has had some time to stew in it and to really sit with it and think about what happened while he was on the Breakfast Club. And he gets on live and he talks about the fact that, basically, like, I don't let no nigga do me like that. And I'm not about to start now. So he starts going on a rant, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I should point out that they were cool. They were friends. Whatever the relationship was, they were tight. And when DJ Envy, do y'all remember when DJ Envy cheated on his wife with Erica Mena? Some years back. And DJ Envy, I believe that there were photos that surfaced, and that's how the whole thing blew up. And DJ Envy, tried to mend fences with his wife, and one of the stipulations of their reconciliation was that he would get on his radio show and publicly apologize for embarrassing his wife. So DJ Envy gets on the radio show and he does this, and it becomes news because of it, right? Since then, they've gone on to continue their marriage and have more children and whatever. I know they had a podcast together. I'm not sure. So there's audio floating around. I don't know where the audio is from, but where him and his wife are discussing this situation. Let's start with Tyrese, though. So Tyrese goes on this rant. We're not strangers to Tyrese and his rants. So there's that. Tyrese claims that he does not have mental health issues. He said he had a mental health break at some point, and he was on meds to rectify that problem. Okay. Tyrese is like, I never talked to your wife crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. You trying to do this for clout. You just want to go viral, blah, blah, blah. I don't really, it's not that I don't believe Tyrese. I don't know what the situation is. But saying that DJ Envy is chasing clout, like, I don't know. DJ Envy is literally on one of, if not the biggest morning show in the country. I don't know why DJ Envy would need to chase clout like that. This seems strange to me that would be the reason why. However, DJ Envy has been involved in a lot of different things with other artists and other public figures before, where it's kind of been like, well, what is this about? Like, how did this even come up? I don't know. Whatever. Just something to note. But what I found interesting was when Envy and Gia spoke about what happened. Gia basically says she doesn't want to say exactly what it was that was going on. She wants to speak in broad terms and just say he spoke to her inappropriately. Apparently there were text messages that were sent directly to her. It appears that Tyrese was counseling them during the time that they were having problems after the whole cheating thing. And he was helping them through that. strange in itself, but he was helping them through that. And then they took a step back because she felt like he was texting her and making passes at her. They never really say exactly what he said, because she says that she wants to keep it vague and she doesn't want to call out specifically things that were said. So they said they blocked him and they didn't have interaction with him. Going back to the interview on the Breakfast Club, that's basically what Tyrese was saying is, I don't really know what happened, but we were cool, and then we weren't cool. Like, then you weren't around anymore, and I had my divorce happen after that, and you weren't there for me. I don't really know what you want from the dude who cheated on his wife and had to publicly apologize and had to come to you for advice. Like, I guess I just don't, I understand, like, shared experiences help people. It's okay to have a conversation with someone and, like, have a sounding board and whatnot. But I don't know what he was supposed to get from DJ Envy during that time when he was dealing with the divorce with his wife. I'm not really sure. Like, one of my qualms with DJ Envy and Gia Casey has been, and this has nothing to do, this is an aside, this has nothing to do with what Tyrese did or whether he did it or not, but one of my issues was I used to listen to their podcast, and one of the things, honestly, that inspired me to start the previous iteration of the podcast, which was more relationship and dating focused, is that Gia and Envy have been together since they were teenagers, literally high school sweethearts, have been with each other. Obviously, Envy has stepped out on their marriage, so we know he at least has been with one other person in some capacity since they've been married, but they have been a couple since high school. My issue has always been that they speak like they are the authority on relationships and marriage and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They also speak very candidly about the way people should do things. It's really hard for me to accept your opinions and suggestions on dating today when you've been with the same nigga since you were in high school and you are now, what, in your 40s? DJ Envy is pushing 50, which means his wife is about the same age, if not the same age, because, again, they met in high school. And that's great. I think it's wonderful that they have found a way to make their marriage work and make it last. But after listening to their podcast some years ago, I realized that they kind of live in this high school sweetheart bubble where, like, their experiences are based on the fact that they married their high school sweetheart. And it doesn't like, there's some blind spots there in terms of, like, what dating and relationships look like today. And certainly you can be someone who is seeking insight or, you know, curious about their perspective on these things. Certainly you can do that. But at the same time, I don't think that they have, I think that they have one representation of what that looks like, what that should look like. I think that it's not a very well-rounded view, and when you hear them speak, you realize that. So that kind of turned me off a little bit to them, and it made me want to create a space that spoke to these types of things or spoke to those types of conversations, because I felt like there was something missing there. Just a little aside, but, and this was one of them. This is not the only one, but yeah. Back to Tyrese and DJ. I don't really know what to say. Like I said, I don't really have too many opinions on this. It's more that it's just hot tea. Like, Tyrese was hitting on Gia Casey? Okay. Or was he? Do we have copies of the text messages? See, this is my issue, because, like, if you're going to say that there are text messages, are we going to see them? I'm not saying they're lying. I don't know why they would need to lie about something like this. But I also think sometimes people, like, was there a misunderstanding? Like, what did he say? Because I don't know. I don't want to, I'm not accusing anybody of not telling the truth. I just want to know more. Like, I want to know what was said. What the fuck did Tyrese say? And I don't put it past him. Trust me. I don't put a lot of things past Tyrese. Tyrese went on a whole rant after this about how he don't bother nobody. He don't say nothing to nobody. He just be to himself. And he do what he got to do. And he be with his woman and this and that. You say you don't bother anybody, Tyrese, and that's fine. Like, maybe you don't bother anyone specifically. And honestly, The Rock would probably say differently. But you don't bother anybody, but what you do is you come out and you publicly say things, and sometimes you ramble and you go on and on, maybe like I'm rambling right now, but you go on and on about so many different things, and it's not always cohesive thoughts, it's not always coherent. And maybe that was a time in your life that a lot was going on, but I just don't know. I don't know what would be the goal of this woman and this man to accuse someone of being inappropriate. Like, what do they have to gain from this? Also, Tyrese, I don't know. I simply don't know. I don't know what to do here. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I said, ooh, that is tea. First of all, what's tea is that Tyrese was the one who was counseling Gia and DJ Envy. That in itself is odd to me. I wouldn't assume that somebody would be going to Tyrese Gibson to seek help in their marriage or to seek guidance for their marriage. Something about that is strange. Something about somebody who would have trusted Tyrese with that is strange. But you know, friends, if they were friends, then they were friends. I don't know. I don't know. We gotta talk about what I'm watching. There's a few things. I did watch The Ultimatum. There was a season 2 of The Ultimatum that came out. Not Queer Love, because Queer Love was considered separate from The Ultimatum. It was boring. There wasn't a lot that was interesting about it. Some of the cast was specifically interesting. There were 2 black couples. That was kind of bizarre. I honestly, by now, first of all, this has been out for weeks. So if you haven't seen it, sorry about this, but I'm about to spoil something pretty significant. I didn't think that baby was real. I did not think that woman was actually pregnant. I thought it was a hoax. I thought she said it just to make sure her man didn't stay and get with another woman. And here we are finding out that there is really a baby. I was shocked, okay? Shocked that there was an actual baby. Because when I tell you that woman told that man, I'm pregnant, I said, no, she's not. No, she's not. What a liar. Okay. And if you watched it, you understand why I thought this. And if you didn't watch it, honestly, don't waste your time, because that's really all the tea that's there. There's not a whole lot. It was pretty boring. Even the ending was pretty boring. I think the most interesting thing that came out of this thing is that we find out that the baby is real and the baby is not a lie. But other than that, You know what was more interesting? They did the 1 year later of Love is Blind. So our favorite couples came back. Brett and Tiffany are still going strong. Really excited about that. The one thing that I was confused about is that, not with them, because they're great. You find out that Bliss and Zach, right? Bliss and Zach and Chelsea and Kwame are like BFFs. They're couple friends, which is great. Like, couples love hanging out with other couples. It's nice because then you could be your couple self around other people who don't mind it. It's a perfect it's a perfect thing to have your couple friends, right? Cool. So they reveal that they go on trips together. They also reveal that they all sleep in the same room, and I can't figure this out. Like, in the same room, like me and my man are in this bed, and homegirl and her man are in the next bed. They get a double room, and they sleep in the same room. Now, what exactly is that about? Are y'all on some, like, let's save money and share? Are y'all on some kinky shit? Like, is there other stuff going on when the cameras aren't around? Like, what exactly is this? Because in my mind, why would I want to be in the bed next to the other couple when I want to do couple things in the bed with the man I came with? Like, what? It's weird. Is it not? Does anybody do this? I've really been trying to figure out, like, is this a thing? Like, do couples do this? Why can't you just get a suite that has 2 bedrooms? Airbnb, a lot of Airbnbs have more than 1 bedroom. I don't really get it. I don't understand it. And this was like the biggest thing for me. I didn't understand it. I mean, there was a lot more tea. Like, what's her name? Jackie and her new man. I can't remember his name. He's a doofus. The doofus and his ex-fiance, there was some drama there. That was kind of interesting, but also kind of not. It was kind of silly, if anything. But the thing that really stood out to me was that bed share, that room sharing thing. I was just like, but y'all not fucking? Is that not one of the fun parts of going on vacation together? Like, just don't understand it, but whatever. The Other Black Girl premiered on Hulu. This will be the last thing I discuss. The Other Black Girl is based on a book. It's a thriller, and it's about a Black woman in corporate America who is the only Black girl at work, and she her manager's counterpart hires an assistant who's her counterpart, and when the girl walks in, it's another Black girl. She's all excited. They're excited to meet each other, and it's great. You know, we many of us can identify, probably all of us can identify with being the only Black person at work, and what that looks like. And it can be lonely. It can be very lonely. So the moment you see someone who looks like you, or you see a couple people who looks like you, there's a sense of comfort. There's a sense of belonging that you feel. And so I was really excited to watch this because I was like, oh, this is gonna be a really interesting show. I didn't realize at the time that it was a thriller. I quickly realized that something was kind of off about the cadence of the show, and I was like, oh, okay, let me look this up, realized it was a thriller. And then I ended up watching it to the end, but I did not like it. I I thought it was a little strange. I don't think it was bad. I just thought it was odd. I like the story. Like, I like the story. I don't know that I like the way it played out. I think when everything gets revealed, I was kind of like, this is what's really going on. Okay, this is strange, but okay. I just didn't, I don't know. I was waiting for that moment where I was like, okay, I'm excited about this and I'm excited about the next episode and I want to see this through and I want to finish it. And that never really came for me. Interesting too, I was looking it up and a lot of people were saying that they did not care for the book. So I thought that was interesting, and I was like, well, maybe it's the story. I don't know, but if any of y'all watch this show, let me know. Because basically, without giving it away, it just came out this week, I think. But without giving it away, you know, they start to get to know each other, and they're becoming friends. But then all these bizarre things start to happen, and it, you know, calls to question the integrity of the new girl. So really interesting. It's something that could really resonate with you up to a certain point, and then I was just kind of like, I'm not following anymore, but still want to bring it up because, you know, maybe someone else will find it interesting and get something more out of it than I did. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching lately. It's time for Tweet of the Week. Now, I did not want to talk about the dude from that 70s show being sentenced after his rape conviction because, one, I want to talk about that sort of thing as little as possible. Also, that is none of my business. White men are not my ministry. So I was not going to come on here and talk about that or talk about Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis and their support of him and how they made a mess of their public image because of this person. But what I will say is that I went on, and honestly, there weren't a lot of good tweets. I was on Twitter for about an hour trying to find a tweet of the week. And then I stumbled upon this one. It was a picture, it was a repost of a video of Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher at some sporting event, and they're laughing and chatting, and somebody made a comment underneath it. I don't remember exactly what they said, but that was not what stood out to me. It was the person who reposted it, Cammie Crawford, TV personality Cammie Crawford. She reposted the GIF and put child 2 peas in a dummy pod. And that made me laugh really hard because they are now scrambling to try to fix the public perception of them for supporting a rapist. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, this was good. Let's do this again next week. Thank you for joining, and don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you have something petty or that you want to say, just hit me up and let me know. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.